So hello, good morning and welcome to the first webinar for the Lifelong Learning platform. My name is Tony Brunning and I'm on the Lifelong Learning project board. As part of the webinar, I will mute all the participants to avoid disruption during the webinar. If you have a question and you're using the online website, you can just take part in instant messaging as part of this webinar. However, if you're using one of the Skype for Business apps on a tablet or a phone, the instant messaging isn't available. So if you have any questions, if you email tony.brunning@nhs.net, we'll be able to answer these at the end. So that email address is toni.brunning@nhs.net, and we should be able to answer questions at the end. All questions that you ask will be answered anonymously. We won't give any names out during this webinar. Some of the webinars will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube and other external sites for educational purposes. If you have any further questions about this matter or any other issues, you can contact one of the Lifelong Learning team members on lifelong@rcoa.ac.uk. So on to today's webinar. I'll be introducing the Lifelong Learning platform and going through some workplace-based assessments. So as you can see here, this is the login screen for the new platform. So once you click login, the first thing that happens is you arrive at the Lifelong Learning dashboard. This is a dashboard that shows all the sort of progress, development, new entries, logbook, and it's essentially the homepage for the Lifelong Learning platform. If you ever want to get back to the dashboard, if you just click this button in the top left corner, the learning profile, then that always just brings you back to this landing page. So the first thing I'm going to talk about this morning is the logbook functionality. There will be separate webinars to explain all these functions in details over the upcoming months. Today's just really an introduction, so I won't be going through lots of detail in all the different functions. This is just an overview of the functions of the new platform. So looking at logbook, you can see the top left here. You can log 6 different types of things in logbook. There's anaesthetic cases, as you perhaps do already in your logbook. You can register intensive care medicine interactions, so patient reviews, ward rounds, that kind of thing. Also log acute pain procedures and clinics, and also chronic pain procedures and clinics. There's a function to register procedures which are standalone. So that, for example, if you get called to resus and you put in a chest drain, you might not want to log that as an anaesthetic case per se, but you can log the procedure. And sessions, you can log all sorts of things relating to our professional practice. So if you attend an MDT, a perioperative medicine clinic, if you are the supervising consultant for the whole theatre suite, lots of different things can be logged under session. And there'll be, as I said, further webinars about logbook later in this program. The next thing I wanted to highlight was the sort of new entry tabs. This is really where you add new things to your lifelong learning platform, so where you can put your workplace-based assessments, where you can add personal activity, so be that courses or conferences that you attend, and also where you can log your personal reflections. If you want to look at the sort of development, you can see this section here where your personal development plan will sit, milestones and certificates. So this is things like your initial assessment of competence or your initial assessment of obstetric competence. These will all be logged here. This is where you can generate a multi-source feedback, look at your ESSR, and also look at your ARCP outcomes. And there's also a general document store, but most documents will be found as part and entwined in the things that you add to your portfolio. So this here is what's colloquially being called the donut of progress, or the progress donut. This is to show you how you're getting on with the curriculum. The stage of training that you're at will be here, and that is changeable by yourselves under your profile, which we'll go through later. And for those that have got optional units, so for example in higher training, you select which bits of the curriculum you're doing and it will map your progress against that, so that it's relevant to the individual. It's colour-coded, so when the cut form for each little module has been signed, they go green. If you've linked workplace-based assessments to a module but haven't yet completed the cut form, it's in yellow. If you haven't added anything to a module, it's in red. And if you've sent the cut form for approval but it hasn't yet been signed off, you get a blue code. So scrolling down from the dashboard page, recent entries. This logs all the entries that have been recently uploaded to your portfolio. I've just had to quickly populate this one this morning because it's a test site. So as you can see, they've all been done today. But any workplace-based assessments or any cut forms or any reflections that you add will all be listed here. And you can see what the status of them is. So you can see here that some of these have been approved, some of them have been submitted, waiting for approval. Moving down further, at the bottom is your current placement and profile, and you can view and add your placements here. This allows you to have a bit more freedom to add when your placements are, which hospitals you're in. So if I just edit that now, I can choose a different hospital, and I can say I'm in program, progress perhaps to the next stage of training. I'm still doing the core curriculum, but I can change this. And as I said, this will then default your donut of progress to the appropriate stage of training. I can see who my educational supervisor is and who my clinical supervisor is. I can put in the start dates for my placement. So say I'm not starting this one until October this year, and I'm going to finish it in February next year. If you're less than full time, you can put what percentage you're working and add any notes to the placement, what modules you're doing, etc. I've put it the wrong date, wrong year. Here we go. So any error message that comes up, if you click the actual error message, it takes you to whereabouts on the form that error has occurred. It's the year here that's the issue. There we go, so that's updated my placement. So you can see that I've got placements upcoming from October till August, and which hospital that's going to be in. If you want to go back to the dashboard, as I said, you can just click Learning in the top left. And if you want to see your profile, your name will appear here. You can click that, and that allows you to see what details are on your profile. Some things aren't editable by the user. So for example, the deanery and the School of Anaesthesia, the exam dates will be populated by the exams database. So that will be pre-populated for you. And likewise, your CCT date isn't changeable by yourself. You can change your password, you can edit some of the details. So you can see if you want to change your email address, or if perhaps you come out of training and you're doing a clinical fellow post, you can change your role. And you can also upload a copy of your CV. So that just allows you to upload a document. And this is still in progress at the moment, which is why these placeholders are there, but you'll get to see the audit trail of who exactly has got access to your portfolio, and you'll be able to download your portfolio. So the next thing of this webinar, what I'm going to do is cover how you generate workplace-based assessments. So as we said, under new entries is workplace-based assessments. If you click that, you get the choice of the two different types of assessments. So those related to anaesthetics and those related to intensive care. So I'm today going to show you how to put in an anaesthetic CEX. So choose assessors. The first thing you do, there should be a list of assessors on the system. You should just be able to search those people, but I'm going to go for my educational supervisor. Then next thing you need to do is add curriculum competencies. So you can see that with the core curriculum, there's the different modules within it. Say this was related to obstetrics. I get to see then linked to the Royal College 2010 curriculum, all of the kind of knowledge, skills and behaviours, and I can link it to certain ones. So say I was just, say I was management of an accidental dural puncture. Perhaps I would like to link some others. I can link it to more than one module. So say, for example, it was also related to, I don't know, airway management. I could click and link it to that curriculum as well. Once I'm happy that I've linked it to all the bits of the curriculum that I think it's relevant to, I can go back to return assessment. I can then detail the observation. The observation becomes the title of the workplace-based assessment. So say I put here, management of dural. That then becomes the title of the assessment in the list. If it's related to an initial assessment of competence or initial assessment of obstetric competence, I can link those codes to it. And I choose the date. Again, I can choose the settings, so we'll say it's on delivery suite. What went well, I can populate this. I can detail these myself as the user, but also the person I send it to can edit these comments. If I wanted to add any supporting documents to the workplace-based assessment, I could do. Examples that have been given is if you've got a screenshot from a regional block that you've performed as part of the assessment, you could add that to it. You can add PDFs, JPEGs, that kind of thing if you want to. And then once I'm happy with the assessment that I've put in, I can send it for approval, or I can do a quick approval by my supervisor. So in this instance, I'm going to do a quick approval. And now I would pass over the keyboard to my supervisor, who would then log in with their details. And as the person doing the assessment, you can see exactly what the trainee has linked it to in terms of curriculum. You can see what comments they have written. Again, these are fully editable by you, so you can add to it or edit them if you want to. What has gone better, and also plan for development and learning. Again, the supervisor would be encouraged to add comments here. Supporting documents, if they wanted to add any comments or any documents, they can do. And ultimately, once they're happy with the assessment and they want to approve it, they tick that they approve it, and then they click approve and log out. Once they've logged out, this then goes back to the trainees page, the learners page, and you can see there in my recent entries, the title that I put in, Management of Dural Puncture, is now the title of this thing. It doesn't just say ACEX, it tells me exactly what it's relevant to, which means it's easier when you're kind of searching and trying to work out which assessments are which. So going back to the other workplace-based assessments, they're very similar. DOPS is similar layout where you choose the assessor, link it to the curriculum, detail exactly what happened, and then the options are you can either send it for approval or send it for a quick approval. Again, if you want to go back to the dashboard at any point, top left corner for learning, go through and show you the ALMAT. So again, I can choose my assessor, see which competence I want to link to this ALMAT. So say I want to link it to orthopedics. I can choose various bits of the curriculum that I think are relevant to that assessment that I've done. And again, these come straight from the curriculum. Once I'm happy that I've linked all of the assessments that I would like to, I can click Return to Assessment, and I can see then the list of competencies that I've added to this assessment. You can see at the moment that it's titled Not Yet Named, and that's because I haven't put in the details yet. Again, click the date. I can link it to any IAC codes if I want to. Again, if I want to add any documents, I can do, and I can send it for approval, or I can do a quick approval. So at any point I can review my curriculum and I can see exactly which modules, if they're green, I know that my cut form has been completed, and if I want to, I can review the cut form. This one I know that the cut is in progress because I've sent it to my supervisor. The orange, yellow ones are ones that I've linked workplace-based assessments to, but I haven't yet created the cut form. And you'll notice that the modules that have got nothing linked to it, I don't get the option to create a cut form. So I can't create a cut form for a module unless I've added some assessment and activity to that module. So again, going back to the dashboard, that's all we wanted to show you in this first webinar, just an introduction to the system. If anyone has any questions, if you email tony.brunning@nhs.net, or if you're able to on the Skype, get onto the instant messaging, we'll be able to take questions then. So we've had a question if there's an equivalent of an ARCP overview screen. So the ARCP panels don't exist on the new system because obviously they had to be implemented by the deanery and the dates were very rigid. The new system instead has a better ability to filter all of the activity on the new platform. So you can go into ESSR record or ESSR management, create new ESSR, and filter the dates, so the activities. So if I want to see what I've done on this portfolio in the last couple of weeks, I can do that and I can filter all the activity. Clearly on this it's a training account and there hasn't been much activity on it, but you can navigate the system and see where the things that you've added in that time period. And if there's things that have got a start and end date, then as long as either the start or the end date falls within the search criteria that you put in, it will show up on this ESSR record. If you want to have a look more at the kind of progress against the curriculum, which the sort of red, green, amber that you had on the old ARCP panels, then you should click Review Curriculum. And you can see then the whole, for example, at the moment I'm registered as a core trainee, but you can also see the other curriculums. And the other thing that's important to mention is that if you are an anaesthetic ACCS trainee, your curriculum will be here as well. But because this person isn't listed as that, it won't show. So you can see then your progress and also against the non-clinical one. And if you've uploaded something and you can't find where you've linked it to, if you click the unlinked entries, it will show you any workplace-based assessments, reflections or activities that haven't been linked anywhere. So this page, Review Curriculum, is more the ARCP panel, and again it's colour-coded for the progress. We've had another question, which is about those doing a dual CCT with intensive care. The process for moving workplace-based assessments from one e-portfolio to the other. The workplace-based assessments will be able to be exported as a PDF, so you can then upload them to the ICM e-portfolio. And vice versa, if you need to, you can upload documents to this platform in a PDF format from your your ICM portfolio. So we're just getting some more questions in. Go back to the dashboard, which is the sort of landing page. So we've had a question about transition. Has it been decided how the crossover period will be dealt with, how the information from the old portfolio will transfer over? The real headline for this is that none of the data really is going to go from the old system to the new system. So short of your demographics, so your name, your email address, your college reference number, your GMC, there'll be no migration of data from the old system to this new one. What that means on the ground is that all trainees need to download their current portfolio. And the old e-portfolio has got an advanced download function. We'll be sending out some more information about that soon. We would advise all trainees do that by the end of July 2018 this year. What that allows is it extracts your whole portfolio as a zip file. So I wouldn't recommend doing it on a tablet because it doesn't deal with zip files particularly well. But if you've got a laptop or a PC, you can download the whole portfolio as a zip file, and then you've got access to all of your assessments, all of the things you've linked to the curriculum. And importantly, any documents that you've uploaded to the e-portfolio get extracted with that enhanced download. And so you can access all of the certificates and anything you've uploaded to the old system. It's then for the schools, your schools will give you further guidance as to what they want re-uploaded to the new platform. Certainly for the progress bar to be working, we would suggest that, for example, if you move over, you've done your CT1 year and you're moving over your CT2 year, any of the modules and CUP forms that you've got completed for CT1, if you can show those to your supervisor and get them to sign them off on the new system, say you've done 7 units of training completed as CT1, those 7 CUP forms you can extract as a PDF, email or show your supervisor, and they can then validate the CUP forms for those modules on the new platform. Which will help you in terms of the progress and also at the ARCP panel. But really it's down to each individual schools will be giving their trainees further guidance to exactly what they expect. Some schools might ask for more things to be uploaded, but it's for them, they will give you individual guidance. I've had a question about MSF. Somebody said that they're told that MSF has been changed and they can close it themselves. Is this correct? The short answer is that yes, it is correct. There will be a separate webinar end of June, I think that was booked for, all about the MSF process. That has changed quite significantly from the current system. Actually, it's streamlined the process. It's given the trainees much more control because you can keep adding assessors to it throughout the year. You don't have to generate the list and get it approved by your supervisor beforehand. And also you then as the trainee decide when that gets closed. So you can decide when you think you've got the right mix of assessors, and you can see the status about whether they've completed it or not. You'll be able to send reminder functions. Once you're happy as a trainee that you have got all of the responses that you think is appropriate for an MSF, and once you feel that you've met the requirements that your school request, there's some differences between what case mix and what respondent mix schools ask for, but once you think you've got the right mix, you then send it to your supervisor and ask them to close it, and at that point they can either send it back to you and say they don't think you have got the right mix, or they can close it. The nice thing about the new system is that throughout the MSF process your supervisor can see the respondents and actually the responses. So if there are comments that you get early on in your MSF, you know, the first few comments say something that needs to be actioned. Maybe they say people say that you're rude or you're late or something like that. It can be actioned as you go along rather than having to wait for the whole MSF to be shut. So the supervisors will be able to see it without it being formally closed. And we're hoping that that should reduce the number of calls to the e-portfolio desk asking at the last minute for MSFs to be closed. Because I'm sure you'll agree on the old system it was quite rigid. The next question is, will there be an app connected to this so that we can log your cases without having to use the desktop website? There won't be an app in the sense of a standalone app, because it's quite difficult to build that for various different platforms. But offline functionality is something that we recognise as important, and it's in the process at the moment. So there will be some offline functionality, so you'll be able to record logbook and also assessments, and then it will, once you get your signal Wi-Fi back again, it will then put it on the system. So there won't be a formal app, but the offline functionality that I think you probably want by an app will be is in progress. And the whole system is designed that if you're using it on a mobile phone, for example, it shrinks down the windows, so it's an easy mobile-friendly website. Be it on a tablet or mobile or a desktop, you get the optimum view. So it's pretty mobile friendly. You can do the things that you would like to do on it. So if we run out of questions at the moment, we'll just give it another minute because I know a couple more people have joined. So I can see someone's typing at the moment, so I'll just wait and see what that question is. So this is about when access will be given. So all trainers who are registered on the old system will be given emailed their login details towards the end of July, ready for go live in August. The trainees, it depends on what approach your school has taken. Certainly anyone starting a new level of training, so CT1, ST3 or ST5, will be given their accounts from the start of August, and it depends on what your school's plans are for transition as to when the other users will go across. If your school has chosen what we kind of call the Big Bang transition, it will be a date in sort of August or early September that everybody else will get their accounts. If your school has decided to go for a phased transition of different levels at different times, then it will be whenever your school say that your level will go across. The important thing to note is that the old e-portfolio system is decommissioned as of August 2019, and so everybody must have transitioned across by the start of August next year. So there's only 1 year by which we'll be running both platforms. This is particularly important for anybody who's out of programme or at the moment, because you obviously you've got a year to transition. The key thing to do is make sure that you've got the enhanced download. It's your data and your responsibility, so you need to make sure that you have extracted your data from the old system, ready for transition across to the new system. I've just had a question about this webinar and whether it can be shared with colleagues. We are recording it and it will be available on YouTube. We'll just, once we've got the sort of technical details sorted, it should be, we'll send some links out or on the website. And all of the webinars that we're doing over the next couple of months will be available on YouTube. So they can act as a kind of educational video afterwards as well. But yes, you're welcome to share them with anyone. Okay, so if there's no further questions, I think we'll end this webinar. If you have any other questions or queries, then contact the Lifelong Learning team at the college, and further webinar dates will be announced. I hope you have a nice day.